Hello, you join me with the new car, and no, it is not the new vehicle that I mentioned in the update video. That is a completely different vehicle that will get its own video at some point, which is very confusing because it sounds like I only mentioned one vehicle in that video, and yes, I did, because I didn't know if I was going to get something else yet, but I did, and it's this. 1998 Nissan Primera, however you want to say it, SE spec. So it's essentially top of the range. This is the 2-litre SR20DE. Now you might be wondering, what does SR20DE mean? Well, SR stands for engine, you know, because those are the letters in the word engine. D stands for dual overhead cam, and E stands for electronic fuel injection, because I think the early ones of these were like carbed or something, but no, this is full multi-point fuel injection. It's very good engine. It's timing chain driven, which is nice, no cam belts to worry about. It puts out plenty of power. I can't remember the exact power figure, but I will put it on display right now. And yeah, I haven't had a lot of time with this car yet, but it's a pretty nice car. We'll go through it together. Before I talk about the features and whatnot with this car, I need to sort of preface why it's even here. You know, what possessed me to buy something like this? Well, most of you know I've not really had a lot of Japanese cars. I had a Proton Saga Ishwara 1.3 GL, so I kind of had a Malaysian Japanese car. We had a Rover R8 at some point, so a little bit of Honda Concerto, but that was a Tourer. I've always wanted a Japanese car. I'm very picky about the ones I want, especially because the ones I want are like rare. But this one's surprisingly not actually that rare, although it's rare enough. I think there's supposedly like, what, 75 examples left or something, which I suppose is pretty rare. But I think in terms of Primera, there's still quite a lot of them in general. But I'm just picky. I wanted to find the exact car. But more importantly, if you didn't know, despite the fact I work extensively on the mechanicals and everything on this fleet, I don't actually have a full driver's license. I have a license. It is a provisional license, of course, which is what you get in this country when you want to do private driving tests and stuff like that, as long as you're with someone that meets a certain criteria. They've been driving for a certain amount of time, they're over a certain age, don't matter if they're related to you or anything, but they just have to meet a certain criteria, which you can find on the DVLA website. Luckily, my partner does, so I have driven almost every car we've had on the fleet with said provisional license, be it manual or automatic, and over time, I've kind of gravitated more towards automatic. I know most people will be like, oh, you know, really, automatic? But it probably stems from the fact I grew up with a lot of old luxury cars. I mean, my dad has had Jaguars and Daimlers like almost my entire life. You know, despite the fact that we went through some financial hardships, he always found a way to run them, especially because in the very early days, they were quite cheap cars to buy. And him with his mechanical connections and stuff, and obviously working in a garage for most of his life, he was able to fix things on the cheap, you know, sort things out, collected a lot of spares when they were super cheap, so he almost paid no money to actually upkeep it. He basically just spent money on tax, insurance and fuel, and that was about it. So, you know, just about managed to scrape by. As such, I'm not really a manual car driver. I don't know. Every time I've driven, and I've driven quite a few manuals actually, like I say, most of my provisional driving has actually been in manual cars. This will actually be the first car I've driven properly on the provisional license. I've driven lots of manuals, but I don't really get on with them. To me, driving is more than just the gearbox. You know, a lot of people say, oh, you know, I like manuals because I like sort of, you know, optimizing each gear and feeling exactly where they are. But it's never really been for me. I've always found that driving's more about the feel of the car, the presence of the car, you know, the fact, you know, what you're in, you know, things like the stereo, the seats, you know, the overall look. I think steering and pedal work is actually more important than what your gearbox is doing, at least in my opinion. I've always felt things like steering and just sort of feeling the presence of the car you're in is my version of the driving experience. It's why when everybody gets really grumpy about like electric conversions, I know, controversial topic, but people get really grumpy about electric conversions because they say, well, the engine is the soul of the car or the gearbox is the soul of the car. Well, A, you can get electric conversions with manual gearboxes, and B, there's really more to a car than that, in my opinion. I think the car itself should be able to stand in its own merits. Like, I look at this car here and I think, well, it's a really good looking car. So even if the rest of it wasn't like crazy, I'd still like it. If this car was electric, I'd still like it. In fact, I'd really like it because it would probably be like a really rare factory electric car or something. but it probably wouldn't have had a lot of range back then, sadly, due to battery technology, but that's not outside of my capability of doing. But anyway, what I mean is there's more to a car than what a lot of, you know, enthusiasts say, and I think the car community tends to gatekeep a lot of what driving should be, and I find that really wrong. I think you should just let people enjoy things, and my enjoyment is automatics, especially old school automatics, you know, because this is a traditional torque converter automatic. They did do a version of this car with a CVT, but it was utterly terrible, so I wouldn't go for that. Not because like the driving experience wasn't something I would get on with, it's because they were very unreliable, unfortunately, as most CVTs often are. But this is a traditional torque converter automatic, so it's a proper what they call slush box, but I like that because, you know, that's what all the Jaguars and Daimlers had, and, you know, I think I just struggle. I haven't got the best joints, I get RSI injuries really easily, and I just didn't really enjoy commuting in a manual these days, especially because you're always stuck in traffic, because we live in a city, so you're always clutch juggling, and I don't know, it just gets really boring to me. I like an automatic because I like to just sort of float and cruise everywhere, and this car is actually a great mix of something that could not just float, but it handles really well. I mean, apparently these were supposed to be one of the best handling cars in their time period, so I thought that was really interesting. We need to gatekeep things less, you know? Whenever a car has an automatic, we need to stop saying, ugh, it's the automatic. But I guess at the same time, that's my gain at the end of the day, as I'm someone who's not really against automatics as long as they're reliable and decent. I guess that's how I can get a bargain. You know, we got this car for 1,200 quid, which in this market and the condition you're about to see it's in, I think that's pretty good, really. But yeah, I guess that's enough preamble. Let's kind of get into it. So here we are, the 1998 Nissan Primera. This belongs to the P11 generation. There was a P10 generation before that. A little bit more squarer, but overall pretty similar design. The P11 is probably arguably one of the most refined versions. It rots less. It actually, they really sort of dialed in some of the looks and whatnot. And I'll tell you what, I don't know if Nissan was possibly a little bit inspired. You know, maybe Renault took some of the engineers from Nissan, but is it just me, or is there quite a lot of Megane in the back end and to a certain extent the front end? Like, I can really see the Megane front end at the front here. Like the whole sort of V shape where the emblem goes and everything, it all just screams a little bit of Megane. But at the same time, I'm also can see a little bit of identity of Vectra in things like the lights and whatnot. So I think that's quite interesting. It's just, it really is a sort of timepiece of its time. One of the other things I really like is the wheels on this car. It reminds me a little bit of the Nissan Maxima, although the Maxima doesn't quite have wheels like this, but it sort of just gave me that vibe. I like them. They're sort of a shiny sort of silver, a little bit like the Bacra wheels on the Clio we had for a little while. But yeah, I love the fact it's chromed handles. Unfortunately, I think it's chromed plastic rather than actual chrome, which is a bit of a shame, but it still looks nice and it seems to have held up after all these years, so it can't be that bad. I think this car was garage for most of its life, and I believe that's what the sort of previous owner said, so that's why the paintwork has survived really well. I mean, it's in pretty good shape. I mean, look at that. We got things like the original dealer sticker there, original dealer plates, which I will get remade. I don't know where to get them remade anymore. I mean, retro plates used to be my go-to, but not sure if they're still in business. Need to get this sticker remade. Oh, speaking of cool stickers, we've also got the OK Nissan. Come on, phone, you can focus. There we go. OK Nissan Sunderland. But I mean, look at this car. There's like no rot at all. You can still see all the pinch welds. This is basically in as good as condition as, if anybody's been watching sort of my previous channel, Tapes and Spanners, they'll remember a Ford Mondeo, a Mark II by the name of Mildred. That car was in about as good as condition as this. We got a couple of old people scrapes. You probably saw the front bumper. You know, this bumper's a bit sort of cooked out there a little bit, but I'm not really that bothered by that. These are all things you could tidy up with probably not that much effort either. You got the nice SE badge. I like the fact it still has gingicators at the back. They're not actually clear, despite the fact that was a very out of fashion thing by the late 90s, but I think it actually looks a bit nicer these days. Again, just look at these arches. I mean, they need a clean, which is fun because hosepipe ban, but this car's ridiculously clean, and I couldn't really believe it. It was one of the things that sort of immediately sold me on this car. Like, look at it, it's so clean. And another thing as well, anybody who knows me knows I'm not normally a fan of sunroofs, but it's a Japanese car, so it works. It just functions correctly. It doesn't leak. It shuts correctly. It doesn't jam. And it's been quite nice to have a working sunroof in this weather, because although this car has AC, it's not currently working. That is definitely something I need to get sorted. But yeah, you know, other than that, it's pretty nice. So let's sort of have a little look inside. Oh, I need to unlock it. I suppose this is a great demonstration for the remote central locking, which actually works on this car, which is fantastic. There we go. With the Nissan anti-theft system, and along with the radio security code. More on the radio in a minute. Here's the interior of a Nissan Primera SE. You got nice soft velour inserts in the doors. This is all plastic. I think it's possibly like a vinyl. It doesn't feel too bad though. A lot of this car's got like pretty good fit and finish. Like, yeah, that's a little bit creaky, but you know, it's not bad. I mean, these were not like, you know, these weren't Mercedes or anything. But yeah, look at this leather. This leather's like firm, but not too firm, and really supportive. These are quite supportive seats actually. And yeah, it's such a really tidy interior. I mean, look at that. I don't even think those back seats have been sat in. Nice little interior light there. Need to put a bulb in the front one. You got that up there. Your sunroof cover. It's got the sort of what I call the Honda style mirror adjustment, because a lot of Hondas had mirror adjustment like this. That works wonderful. There's the odometer in there. As you can see, 54,000 miles. This car is, yeah, it's in fantastic shape. You know, we'll have a look at some of those mechanicals in a minute, but yeah. You know, you've got your sport mode, your snow mode for the gearbox. There's the gear shifter with a nice bit of sort of wood effect there. Dual heated seats, which makes me very happy. I do like heated seats. I think that's to disable the volumetric alarm. I'll put yes or no in the video when I edit this. There's the cassette deck. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to change it because it's got that horrible heat sealed connector that's always the bane of my existence with car stereos. And I'm not able to fix those at the moment because they're a ribbon cable that's glued to a PCB. And since they use carbon tracks, you can't really solder it because it'll just melt into nothing. Because it's essentially just glued to the LCD and the PCB, so there's not really much I can do about that. So I'm going to have to put a different radio in here, which also means not being able to use the factory CD changer. So that really sucks. I'm hoping I can fix this one day. But I'm probably going to put a period correct Blaupunkt in here and then add that period correct CD changer in the same spot so that it basically does the same thing. This car has a very good sound system as well, by the way. There's your AC button and recirc. There we go, look at that. We've got the nice Nissan emblem there, and yeah, this wheel needs a little bit of a clean, and it's, you know, it's got a little bit of wear on it, but it's, you know, it's not bad. You know, things like the bolstering, yeah, a little bit of, you know, getting out of the car damage. But other than that, pretty good. Stock Nissan floor mats. There's the pedal box, along with a place to put your clutch foot. Or at least your left foot in this case. You know, no clutch to worry about here. There's the other Nissan floor mats. The dash is in amazing condition. I love that. So yeah, that's that. Let's have a look at the boot. These have got quite a capacious boot. I suppose while we're there, we'll have a look at the back. Nice big doors, again, sort of Mondeo style, with a huge sort of large metal bit here, which I've always found very interesting. Rear electric windows, which I think might have been specific to the SE. You've got the armrest here, no ski hatch access or anything, which is a shame, although I don't really go skiing, so that's fine. And yeah, you've got the speakers in the back here, so they're right next to your head instead of in the doors, which gives the doors a bit of a barren look, but I don't mind it too much. Grab handles and stuff with a very nice parcel shelf. Let's have a look in the boot. Yes, I do need to get an aerial, so I need to figure out where to get one of those. Let's look in the boot. This car's actually been to a trip to France, hence the UK sticker very recently, and the previous owner said it did very well, which, you know, I'm not particularly surprised about. There's the blankets for our dog. Here is the factory CD changer, and the nice thing about this is when I change it to a Blaupunkt CD changer that will match the Blaupunkt stereo I'm putting in here, I can still put this on, so it'll still look fairly OEM, which is nice because all this bracketry should line up. But yeah, there's the CD changer, 6-disc one. It's gonna be a real shame to lose it. Oh, it's actually a Clarion setup, look at that. So we'll be going from Clarion to Blaupunkt, which is a shame because Clarion stereos are very good. Although the Blaupunkt I've got to go in here is an excellent stereo, believe me. I believe this is where the medical kit would have gone. your access to the jack is in here. Let's get that. Sorry if I sound a bit out of breath. It's very, very hot today. And I am out of shape. I'm in the process of getting my life together, so sort of hang with me on that one. What's this access to? I assume probably the bulbs up here. I don't really want to pull it, but I think it's access to the bulbs. It needs a bit of a clean, doesn't it? I'll sort that out at some point, especially as this may or may not go to Rustable. We'll see. I haven't really decided yet because there's still the other vehicle I mentioned. I kind of want to take that, but we'll see. I mean, this would be a lot more comfortable than the other vehicle, that's for sure. So here we are, the engine bay with the mighty SR20DE twin cam. I need to polish up this valve cover a little bit because you can see it's got sort of aluminium corrosion, but if you look, it does dust off, so I think a really nice polish of this, and it'll probably shine pretty well. I think it's supposed to be silver as stock, so I won't go painting it. But yeah, other than that, you know, it's got a little bit of surface crusties here and there, but, you know, like there, some of the sort of bracketry and bolts and sort of things like that, but honestly, not bad, you know, considering the age of it. The actual metalwork, you know, yeah, it's dirty, again, because I can't wash it out as much as I'd like to. Maybe I'll take it to a car wash at some point. But yeah, you know, other than that, it's pretty good. It's just all like surface level stuff. I mean, look, this radiator looks brand new, and I don't know if it is, but it sure looks it. You know, all the fins are beautiful and everything. You got the twin fans because of air conditioning. But yeah, it's just a nice place to be. Brand new battery as well, and not to mention the stuff you saw in the boot, the oil and the filters, the seller provided that, and it's all good quality stuff, so I'll probably take care of that very soon. Honestly, the worst bit on the car is the bonnet here. As you can see, it's not very nice up there, but I reckon that's salvageable without too much effort, especially because it's not actually reached the outside yet. I think sort of get some of that out, rust treat it, paint it, and we'll probably weld it in the future, because there's no point replacing this whole bonnet when the rest of it is that good, you know? Because I mean, look at the rest of it, and there's still like wet cavity wax here. Like that's amazing, you know? The rest of the bonnet's beautiful. It'd be a shame to replace it with one that will probably look so much worse. It would make sense to just, you know, respray there if you have to when it's repaired, and sort of go from there, really. Other than that, like, yeah, there's a little bit splitting there, but again, just peel that off, rust treat it, paint it, and it's probably not going to get any worse anytime soon. Glass headlights as well, which I like. Here's kind of the worst of the damage. It's clearly had a bit of a whack here, which has upset this fog light a little bit, so I'll probably need to keep an eye out for one of those. Bit of bumper damage. You can probably tidy it up a little bit. And then the front number plate's like mint condition, so it'll be a great reference point for sorting the rear one as well. The nice thing as well, you can tell it was owned by someone meticulous because they greased the latches, they've greased all the hinges around here. I probably need to do that again. But yeah, that's that really. I guess we'll fire it up and have a listen to it. It has a bit of an exhaust blow though, so do bear that in mind. Pretty quiet engine really. I mean, when the bonnet's down and you're in traffic, half the time I keep thinking it's switched off because I'm used to clackery old things. But yeah, it's a nice thing. People love these engines because they're apparently tough as old nails and they can take quite a bit of power. Me being me, boring, I'm going to keep it completely stock because it will also last a lot longer that way. And it makes plenty of power, honestly. It's very easy to spin the wheels on this car when you set off. The throttle is so sensitive. Probably one of the most sensitive cable cars I've ever driven. But I guess that's not necessarily a bad thing. It wants to go, you know? You just got to be a bit more gentle with it so you don't drive like a fool. But yeah, I mean, listen to it just ticking away there. It sounds lovely as you'd expect at this sort of mileage, really. You can get a little look inside. There you go. 28.8 was the last trip. It's been going up. The previous owner must have driven this thing hard because every time we've driven it, the MPG figure's gone up. So you cycle through functions with this button here. You can reset certain things by holding this button. You would change the time by going to the time, which is, hang on, this one, and then you would hold that. It flashes the hours first, you wait a little bit, then it does the minutes, and then it goes from there, and then that's it basically. And you reset other things like that. It's quite cool. You can actually reset how long your trip is taking. So right now it's actually counting the amount of seconds it's taken so far. So it will count your time in minutes, how long your current trip's taken. So it's essentially a stopwatch, which is quite handy. You could do 0 to 60s with that, I guess, if you wanted to, but yeah. So we have figured it out. There's quite a lot you can do there. You know, you've got your distance, you know, how long you've got to the next petrol stations, how long you've traveled. It's essentially a supplement to the trip computer. So you can essentially have 2 trips. You could leave your previous trip there, but then reset that and have a new trip, and then it would just add on to that one as like a total trip. So you can do quite a bit with it in a way. As a lot of the manuals of the day would have probably said, you know, to enrich the experience of the driver. So here we are then, one last quick look of the interior, especially because my phone is currently overheating, which is fun. Oh, I should also mention, there's a light up vanity mirror for the passenger. Passenger only, but I suppose the driver doesn't need to do that. I shouldn't be doing my makeup while I'm driving, you know, that's fair enough, and I wouldn't. On the sunroof as well, can I demonstrate it? Probably not, because I've turned the ignition off. We've also got the nice sunroof. Here we go. Nice, quiet, smooth sunroof as well. Oh, I've also just noticed it's Nissan branded. Very cool. But there you go. That's this video for now. I want to finish up quickly because my phone's actually overheating while I'm trying to do this. It really doesn't like it. So, but yeah, it's just a quick overview. This isn't meant to be like a review of this car. That'll come one day, especially, you know, maybe by the time I've got my license as well, we can drive it properly. I mean, Samantha could drive it for us, but I don't think my phone's going to cope in this heat, especially because the AC is not working. It's just going to keep getting hot. So that'll do for now. That's sort of a quick little walk around, because I sort of wanted to show it off, what it sounds like, what it feels like, and yeah, I like it. When I first saw this car on Marketplace, ironically, I dismissed it because I just kind of saw Primera in the thumbnail. I was like, oh, it's just gonna be another boring, like, low spec one. I don't get me wrong, there's nothing against low spec ones. It's just like I've had enough cars like that. But then I realized how special this one was because Samantha sort of showed it to me again, sort of, you know, we were browsing late at night, and I was like, oh my god, it's one with leather seats. That's really unusual. I really want this. It's so much more upmarket than a lot of the Nissans I remember. But I do like Nissans of this era. I mean, I'm a big fan of the T72 Bluebird, for example. The Sunny of the same vintage was a very cool car. So it might not even be the last Nissan we own, but to be fair, I kind of want to keep this car. I mean, if you watched the last video, you will remember I did want to settle down quite a bit, and maybe I could class this as settling down because it's comfortable, it's relatively economical, it looks nice, the paintwork's in great shape, it looks great in the red with those wheels, so maybe I ought to just chill out a little bit and just start enjoying something, especially now I've actually got something nice to enjoy again. You know, the past few cars we bought had maybe not been up to the sort of standards that I'd want for a daily driver, you know, stuff that was gonna want work in the sort of near future. But while this does want a little bit, you know, here and there, like most old cars will, it's a really good basis to start with, and it's kind of already earned its keep with, you know, just how nice it's been so far. You know, Samantha's really enjoyed driving it, and I've enjoyed experiencing it from the passenger seat, but very soon I might be able to actually, you know, give it a go and actually get out on the road, because there's loads of videos I want to make. I mean, I actually have a second channel where I do sort of old camera footage. There's nothing on there yet. I might do experimental films with like my friends and stuff, test footage, that sort of thing. I want to go to places, like sort of places where not a lot of people tread, so I try and sort of go for quiet spaces where I can do sort of films like that, especially the great big cameras that I have as well, like the big DV cam ones. You know, people think you're the press if you start walking around with them, so you got to be careful. But yeah, that's the Primera. I haven't named it yet. Hopefully we'll be able to figure it out at some point. I'm sure something will come to me, you know, it always does, or it comes to one of us. Samantha likes the fact that the reg is JPK, Jurassic Park, one of her favourite films, so maybe we'll end up with a name like that. Who knows? It'll be the second car that we've done that with, but who knows? I'll figure it out. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in a future video.